Alright, greetings and salutations. My name is Comic Fire, and welcome back for more Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. In the last episode, we defeated Cerberus and made it through the Samsara tunnels. And in this episode, we're going to be taking on the Brute's base. Now, the way this dungeon works is you interact with these colored pillars, and certain doors will open. The blue one here will open this door over here. Now, this dungeon is pretty tough, as you would expect from the second to last dungeon. It's a lot shorter than the last one, but it makes up for it by being not necessarily tough as nails, but I've had more, definitely, I want to say Shin Megami Tensei moments here than anything else. What do I mean by Shin Megami Tensei moment? I mean, like getting a preemptive attack on me, like getting ambushed, I should say. Then watching as all of my party members get critted, and I die, and I see the game over screen. This is actually my second attempt at recording this episode, because my first attempt resulted in getting utterly smeared. Now, the four doors we saw earlier had, well, items behind three of them. And one was just a trap item box, which I don't believe I ever saw anywhere else in the game. Seems like a weird thing to add just in one place. But it poisons you and deals some damage. The items weren't really that good, besides one of the, like one of those cells that you can trade for a shitload of Maka. Yeah, well. By the time you start getting into this point of the game, mantras are getting ridiculously expensive, but you're also making money so quickly that it sort of offsets it. Especially with how long it takes to actually complete a mantra. You have plenty of time to, you know, level grind and get that Maka back. And since we mastered Kichijo, however you pronounce it, wouldn't even begin to guess. I'm gonna get a new mantra, but you know, we're still a little too short on money to get anything cool. Mostly all I want for Argilla is Mother Earth because of Pterodine. And even then, I don't really want Pterodine because I don't know, for all of my elemental needs, I've got Surf. He's my magic nuke, why don't I give him the stronger skills? So it took a while to settle on what skill I wanted before I eventually just went on Vidyaraja. Now, the blue configuration is probably the most annoying configuration, because it's the longest. So I figured I'd knock the hard stuff out first. Not even really hard, it's just long. Every time I use a new elemental attack, I'm afraid the demons are going to, you know, resisted, shielded, all that bad stuff. Anyways, now we've got Agidine. So now we have both of the Dine class spells that I really wanted for Surf. And Fire Amp as well, which is going to be endlessly useful for this boss. It's still pretty early in the morning. This boss can be very annoying if you don't know what you're doing. Basically, you know, there's 5 of these Needhuggers. But only the one in the middle is different from the rest. The one in the middle's sort of... well, the rest are pretty weak, as you'll see here. But the one in the middle is the real boss, and if you leave it alone, it's going to eat the other Needhuggers and get bigger and bigger and bigger and start chucking some really scary, powerful spells out. So I like to alternate between using Miragidine, handing off to Argilla and using Matarazi. And then, well, that's when he has like 3 of them. And when he has just the 2 of them in the middle, smack the big one with Agidine, and then, well, really with all the powerful spells you can get. It's scary if you don't know what to do. And if by any chance you let the Nidhogger eat the other ones like I did with my first time, bring Ice Drain. For the life of you, it'll make your life so much easier. And that's that. In Megami Tensei fashion, as long as you know what you're doing, you're a lot better off. You're not perfect, but you're a lot better off. Now, the first time I did this, I was afraid, you know, they were actually going to make me run all the way back to the main hub room. But fortunately, they do have these small Karma terminals. So I can just teleport back, which is really the only time I found the teleport feature useful. But now we have all this money, let's go for Miragidine. Now, if you're building Surf like me, sort of alternating between the Bufudine and the Agidine, or just the Bufu and Agi trees, you definitely want to max out the Agi tree first, because getting Fire Resist for Surf, well, if you get the Resist for the element that you're weak to, like let's say Surf gets Fire Resist, Gale gets Lightning Resist, or Elect Resist as it were, it completely overrides the natural weakness that you have to it. So, in exchange for one skill slot, you've given up your weaknesses entirely. Which is endlessly useful. And hooray, I didn't screw up my east or west this time. I still have a problem with that, and I will have a problem with that till I die, I imagine. I know my left or right, but the second you make it W or E, it's too much for me. That's funny. Now, they usually give me forked options like that. I prefer to go all the way to the end because there's usually something better at the end of it. It's either usually something better or just something good. Or like the way through, maybe. Like, I imagine like some sort of like first-person dungeon crawler, there's like 2 paths. You keep going, and then the first path you take, you can go for. And then it's like a pitfall or some damage tile. But like, you go all the way to the end, and it's like a teleport tile that takes you right to the final boss or something. Something like that, you know? Now these things terrify me, queen mobs. They have an ability called Vanity, which can inflict just about every status effect under the sun. Including Charm. Which in the previous recording is what happened. Everyone got charmed by a queen mob and then proceeded to slice each other open. Alright, now for the boss of the green configuration. Now this thing's gimmick is the element you hit it with is the element it's going to try to use against you. And it's also going to summon more Ascesis. Which is annoying, to say the least. I prefer to hit it with Bufudyne because no one on the squad is weak to it. And then Surf straight up resists it. So I don't usually bother with putting up an ice shield either. Thankfully this one didn't summon any reinforcements, so now we can just go all out with it. Still not bothering with Xandine because Gale isn't quite strong enough for quick kills. Mostly it just feels like my squad is Argilla and Surf, with Gale just there as an extra press turn icon. Thankfully, demons that use electricity aren't too common, it seems. So Gale's weakness isn't too big of a drag. I'm sure that'll change when I take on the super bosses. Because, yeah, I'm taking on the super bosses. And I kept accidentally hitting X too quick there, so. Now, when I say I'm taking on the super bosses, I mean I'm taking on all the super bosses but one. Because the final, like, the big, powerful, ultra super boss is annoying to fight, to say the least. There are plenty of videos of him on YouTube already, but it required it to do it. I had to do a lot of grinding for the super bosses in this game already. No stat maxing or anything, just a lot of grinding. But to fight the super boss, you have to do it on a, I don't want to say a new game plus, it's like a new cycle. which unfortunately I'm not playing on, because I didn't know if it was going to include anything else that would ruin a first-time experience playthrough like this. And the fight is extremely reliant on luck. And I don't feel like a 70-minute fight entirely based on luck is really quite up my alley. Especially since the reward... There is no reward in this game. It's one of those things that when you do it in this game, it has an effect on what happens in the second game. But even then, the reward isn't that great. And I don't even know if I'm going to be playing, or LP in the second game. So yeah, every super boss except that one. And I'm going to have to remain firm on that one too. Now the second door there has a small karma terminal, which is fantastic. But I don't know what the southern door had. That's not really southern. The first door, I should say. I talk about not enough electricity resistances. Or electricity users, and then I just get slammed with the Mazioka. Well, better than I'm a Zeodyne. Poor Gale probably couldn't take that. Here we go, the boss of the red configuration, Topographical. This guy is a lot easier than the other two, mostly because he has clearly available weakness. And let's put a death shield up, so most of his attacks are now completely useless. Figured since it was weak to fire, let's toss a Molotov at it. I'm kinda wishing I saved the Molotov, actually. Get an extra press turn icon where I needed it, maybe later. Now, Topographical has a lot of death-based skills, and they're mostly all revolving around getting you stoned, like Gate of Hell, Stone Gaze. I think it's packing a Mudo spell too, so just keep Void Death going. No need for Repel Death or anything, because Repel Death is kind of useless. As a rule, anything that can use, anything that can use death spells tends to be resistant to death itself, so Repel Death's kind of useless. Void Death should be plenty. Alright. Let's head back to the main hub and see if we can't take on that white configuration, huh? It's in the middle, so you know it's got a certain sense of finality to it. The only reason I keep fighting this crowd especially is because I know its weakness. Why do I know its weakness? Because in Raito Kusunoha versus the Soulless Army, I have a Raiju. And its weakness to force has cost me many a battle. Soulless Army is kind of an game, I suppose. Heard the sequel's a lot better, so I'm looking forward to that. Or, well, I already own it, but I'm looking forward to playing it, I should say. Alright, where are we gonna go after Vidya Raja, huh? Let's just push it all the way. Especially because Null Nerve is great. Can't beat that. Really, the Null ailment skills are situational, but in those situations, you really can't beat them. Anyway, I'm going to end the episode here. I'll see you guys next time.